Chances are, if you follow anyone who spins on YouTube or Instagram, you've heard of the Tour de Fleece. The Tour de Fleece is an international spinning event that coincides with the Tour de France. This year, it goes from July 5th through July 27th. And folks from all over the world participate in this. And since there's no official host, no official rules, people kind of play it by ear and do it however they see fit. Most people are setting some kind of goal. Some people set a goal to just spin every day. Maybe they set a goal to spin for 15 minutes every day. Some people use this as an opportunity to finish up some lingering projects, lingering whips that are spinning related. Some people choose to, hey, I'm going to spin on my spindles. Some people see how many yards they can spin. There are teams, and a lot of the teams are kind of centered around supporting each other in whatever your goals are. Some of them are a little bit more specific spin-alongs where folks are trying to see how many yards they can spin. A lot of the goals that people set for Tour de Fleece are productivity based. So maybe you want to finish all of the spinning for a sweater project, or you want to get through a certain weight of fiber in your stash. Um, this year for Tour de Fleece, which is I think I maybe participated in Tour de Fleece last year, but very loosely. And so I don't really remember like having any goals around it. I just remember watching other people's videos. I had thought about doing this year for Tour de Fleece, um, posting every day, kind of like Vlogmas, but Vlogmas in July. But I think as I've reflected on this, I think my Tour de Fleece goal is not going to be productivity based. It is going to be kind of meditation based and practice based. So I'll show you a little bit of what I'm working on. And as I work, I'll chat a little bit about kind of how I'm using Tour de Fleece in my spinning journey. So today so I've got kind of three projects that I have in mind. I think I've talked about them. I'm not going to bring them up here. I kind of want to keep this as a casual chat, and I can see the three projects kind of spread out in my living room right now. And I just don't want to have to go get them and like interrupt the flow here. So I'll just keep chatting and while I go through this. I think I've talked about this particular project. This is Hilda. Hilda is the Corriedale cross fleece that I purchased last year at Black Sheep Gathering. And Black Sheep Gathering was last weekend. This today is July 6th, so today's the second day of Tour de Fleece. On the first day of Tour de Fleece, I basically I filled the spindle with yarn from these rolags I'm making today. So this is from Hilda's fleece. This is hand carded, or sorry, hand combed top. And it doesn't really need to be processed any further to use it. However, I realized when I weighed out the comb top that I had after all of the waste and things like that I wasn't going to have, or I likely wouldn't have the amount that I needed for the cardigan I'd like to knit when I'm done spinning. And so I decided to card the combing waste and into rolags and spin it. And now I'm also trying to match ish the singles up as close as I can. And so I am now carding into rolags this comb top. This is kind of carded rolags the long way, but it's okay. Like I said, I'm kind of here for the process anyway. As I card this, some of the things I've been thinking about with my spinning is gotten this sense for a while that my spinning and even my knitting as well is kind of growing into a bit of a meditative spiritual practice, kind of more than just a hobby for me. And it's interesting that I named this channel Yarn Church because I didn't really have in mind of like talking a lot about spirituality on here. In fact, I don't know if I put this on my YouTube channel. I know I definitely put it on Instagram because I had people having a lot of like feelings about being called Yarn Church and like, um, is this a religious channel or is this a religious account? And it's not, and I'm not turning it into that. I don't plan to evangelize anybody other than, evangelizing you kind of to your own capabilities and increasing your enjoyment of your craft, maybe if anything. Um, I don't really need anybody to kind of believe the way I believe or feel the way I feel about this. But I just thought I'd maybe share a little bit about what I've been thinking, what I've been experiencing. So yeah, I use spinning as kind of a meditation. And a lot of the like literature that inspires me, oddly enough, has had sheep in it, and I think, spinning for me is a little bit more than I like to think about all of the people that came before me and of our ancestors who did this, kind of the thankless, this has been in the past kind of a thankless task, and a lot of women's work has been. And it is very meditative. Um, and it's a good stress relief. It provides a lot of space kind of to think and meditate that I don't often get in my everyday life. I feel like I'm always busy moving, going from place to place and task to task. And this is a pretty this is a pretty unproductive hobby. I mean, you do end up with yarn in the end, regardless of kind of, your speed or whatever. Eventually, you end up with yarn when you're spinning. But this is kind of the slowest way to get yarn. It's the slowest way to get fabric to hand knit it. There's so many other ways to get the things that I make that don't involve all of this work and effort. And I just think, in and of itself, this is it's a rejection of kind of the fast fashion, productivity, perfection, all of those things. And yeah, like I said, it gives me kind of a space to think about those things. And one of the things I want to do with Tour de Fleece this year is spend a little bit more time being more intentional about using my spending time as a meditation as and developing it as a spiritual practice. Currently it's not very developed as a spiritual practice. I get a sense that it has such a spirituality to it, but I I haven't it's really very nascent, uh, undeveloped. Um, So, yeah, I'd like to develop that a little bit more and think about what it means to me. I just finished reading a book not very long ago, and it was called The Power of Ritual. Don't remember the name of the author, but I can kind of put it on the screen and edit when I'm editing it. Um, but it was a really enlightening book that I think put into words a lot of the things that I've kind of been feeling about my spinning and kind of fiber arts, which is, and the part of this that kind of is why I called this channel Yarn Church. And um, I've talked about Yarn Church before the channel was called Yarn Church. I called my knitting group Yarn Church. I think I mentioned that kind of in my first episode or maybe my second one about, you know, I was leaving religion and found a lot of community in fiber arts, found a community that supported me and was there for me. And this is also kind of like I said, it's a hobby that has really kind of fed me spiritually. And I think even those feelings that I had of like, hey, this is a good, uh, this is a good, it feels like church. That recognition that it felt kind of like church was there. Um, but yeah, anyway, the book, I feel like I'm really rambling here. The book The Power of Ritual, talks about taking the things that you're already doing and how to kind of imbue them with spiritual meaning and bringing more meaning and connection to your life. It's definitely something I'm interested in. And I see the thing that came to my mind when I read this book, of course, was my spinning and fiber arts, and how a lot of times when I'm spinning or knitting, kind of as I'm doing those repetitive motions, I am I'm thinking about something in my life that that I'm like decisions I'm trying to make, or um kind of evaluating decisions I've already made for, like, what are my values? How does this feed into my values? How can I be more true to my values? And that and it's I don't think that's necessarily what religion is all about, but I think that's what the good ones are about. And there's no I'm not saying that there's any religion that's good um or bad, or it's I don't think that there's a particular church or religion that's the right one. But and I'm extremely agnostic. But I think that the power of the religion or spirituality is really in the practice of it and how someone practices. And kind of the spirituality that's described in the book The Power of Ritual is that you use the things you read and the things that you think about to and the even the everyday things that you're doing. I mean, he talked about ritualizing washing the dishes or ritualizing cooking your meals. Um, and Anyway, taking those things and helping them, turning them into something more meaningful that imbues your life with meaning and helps you define and adhere to your own personal values. And that's where I think um, that's what I think the practice of religion really should be used for, not necessarily to say, here's how everyone else should live, but here's how I should live. And kind of taking a critical look at your own life and how, and kind of holding yourself accountable. And I even think that, my favorite knitting groups that I've been involved in have held me accountable to my own values. And or at least the people that I've met there have been like good sounding boards for life decisions. And not just kind of a fan club that only like tells me, oh, you're the best, all your decisions are the best. um but they're a sounding board that they make me want to be better. And no, not every conversation in any group is about being a better person, but I have developed, I think, in some of the crafting circles I've been in, the sorts of relationships that do kind of inspire me to um, stand a little taller, shall I say, um, and be a little bit better in my dealings with my fellow humans, and kind of staying true to my own personal values. But I'm interested to hear how you all, if this is resonating with anybody, if this is something that, if you feel like spinning or knitting or fiber arts, or arts in general, um, feel like a spiritual practice to you too. I've also been thinking a little bit about, like, hey, if I'm having like kind of the spiritual journey, I do plan to make a cardigan with this yarn. And some of the other couple projects I'm working on, I'm really kind of doing a I'm wrapping up old things rather than starting new things. And whether I finish or not is not that important to me. If I finish during Tour de Fleece, great. And if I don't, great. But I'm thinking about, particularly this project. Um, this has been a really long project that I've completed over the past year. And it's been, a year of growth in my spinning. And it's also been a little bit of a turning point in identifying some of the things I really want out of my life. And I'm still kind of exploring those things, and especially exploring kind of the courage to say some of the things I want out loud. Um, but but yeah, I think I'm going to be thinking about this journey as I wear the hopefully eventual cardigan that comes out of this. If I have enough yardage from this fleece. Um, I look forward to, um, you know, I guess imbuing that cardigan with a little bit more meaning as well. It's almost like I don't know, like it's been blessed by a spiritual effort. Um, I don't know. Um, yeah, let me know what you think. And if you're spinning for Tour de Fleece, I'm always interested in kind of like what are your goals for Tour de Fleece? Um, what do you hope to get out of it? Um, and yeah, I hope that if you're here because you are participating in Tour de Fleece and wanted to see what I was doing, that you got something good out of this. And if you just were curious about what Tour de Fleece is, thanks for sticking around this long. I hope that, in this tumultuous world that we're in, that you find solace in the things that you love to do and that you can find meaning in either in your fiber arts or in, the other things that you're spending your time on. Um, Take care. Have a great week. Bye bye now.